Welcome to another episode of Main Monkey with me, Andrew, and Matt. On this episode, we're going to talk about Rampage, directed by Brad Payton.
So Rampage is another video game movie based on a very old video game, and one which many people probably don't really remember because came out a long time ago. And as video games go, this has very little plot to go on. So they did quite a good job of actually making a story out of it.
It's amazing they did.
So yeah, the video game, for people who don't know, is basically you control either a giant gorilla, giant lizard, or a giant wolf and go around smashing up tall buildings. So anyway, this film begins on a space station where they've developed a new technology known as CRISPR, or a new serum known as CRISPR, which essentially genetically enhances animals. And we see a woman struggling to save the samples as the ship's sort of on fire and being destroyed by a genetically mutated rodent. The samples crash to Earth, and basically the gas escapes and affects, as in the game, a gorilla, a wolf, and a giant lizard, who then go and try and destroy a large tower. And Dwayne Johnson's in it.
It wasn't a giant lizard to begin with.
No, they were small to begin with.
They were
regular size. It was the serum what done it. But yeah, Dwayne Johnson's in it. He's a primatologist, but they do give him a little backstory to say that he was previously Special Forces, which explains why he has huge muscles.
Yeah.
He's built like Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, when you think of primatologist, you don't immediately think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah, and he's working with a gorilla called George, very rare albino gorilla.
So already, right, so far to recap, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and an albino gorilla.
Yeah.
For close to an hour and a half, an hour and 45. So you're thinking this is going to be really bad.
I'd say that would shift tickets on its own. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, albino gorilla. But yeah, so to be honest, like, I thought Dwayne Johnson and that gorilla was like the best chemistry in the movie, and really was the heart of the movie.
Yeah.
Because coming into this, if you've seen the trailer, you just think, how are they going to make a film about this? There's nothing to go on other than like giant monsters smashing up a city. But by creating that sort of friendship at the beginning with those two, and they even give it some real emotional weight.
Yeah.
Whereas halfway through you learn, spoilers, that the gorilla as parents were preyed on by
Poachers.
And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson used to be in an anti-poaching task force and basically rescued this gorilla when it was a baby.
He's got a hell of a CV in this movie.
Yeah, he does.
He's done a lot.
Yeah, he has. So yeah, basically the gorilla gets hit by this chemical that's fallen from space and goes on a rampage. Hence the name of the movie.
Yeah, and like you're saying, like, the best thing, the thing that makes it work is the chemistry and relationship between The Rock and George, which I didn't think going into this movie I would be coming out saying that's the key to this movie, is the bond between these two. And it is really, it knows it's ridiculous, this movie.
I think you needed. I mean, I think the film was pretty flimsy, and if it hadn't been for that, it wouldn't have really been enjoyable. That kind of held the thing together.
It would have just been like people smashing stuff together.
There are other characters, like Naomi Harris is in it. She plays the scientist who essentially developed this CRISPR virus, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, she used to work for Energy, who are the company who are
the bad guys
that designed CRISPR. Yeah.
So yeah, she teams up with Dwayne Johnson at one point. Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
who's from The Walking Dead fame, who's really good in this.
Yeah, a lot of people said he just plays the same character in this as he plays.
He is, but he's put on a bit more of a southern accent. But he is really good.
I really liked him. Yeah, he's really charismatic.
He's really hamming it up though. But yeah, he's really good in this, and he does make it work. And he's got all those kind of like action movie quotable lines and stuff like that.
The one thing I didn't like was the villains. I mean, I guess I understand, like, they need to put villains in it, and, you know, I suppose they do their job, but there was just nothing to them, really. They were just your typical sort of mustache-twirling bad guys with a nefarious scheme.
I felt like, immediately, especially with, is it the brother, are they brother and sister?
I think they're meant to be brother and sister.
Especially, like, the brother who's the front man of it in the media and stuff, and they're in this big, massive tower, and I kind of got from it Trump Tower, like the way he's dressed with the tie, and he's got the fast food, and he's like the head of this massive corporation. but he's not really that smart. So I got Trump from that.
I might have enjoyed it more if I'd have seen that's what they were going for.
Well,
I can see it now. Yeah,
it's just like they've got like an FBI raid in his building, and he's standing there with a Big Mac or whatever. And I'm thinking, I'm just drawing comparisons there, which maybe isn't there, but maybe
he is sort of portrayed as a man-child.
Yeah, so I think they're kind of going for that, and like the massive corporation, like at the expense of everybody in the city.
His sister's a lot smarter than him.
Yeah,
but it's like people have said, it is like Saturday, kids cartoon territory, bad guys. Like there's really not a lot there. But then people won't really be expecting it in this sort of movie.
No,
and they basically drive the plot in a sense. They're running the company that created the virus, and they have, in order to attract to get their 3 samples back of these 3 animals, they set up a beacon on top of their building, which emits a signal which attracts the animals.
And their idea is the animals will come back, the military will kill them, and then they'll just take a sample and have all the research they can sell to whoever as a super weapon kind of thing. So yeah, plot wise, it's a bit.
I mean, the plot was sort of because they're going on the game, and they've basically come up with a convoluted way to try and explain why there are 3 large animals smashing up a city.
But do you know what? It knows that it's been silly, and I think like the biggest achievement this movie has made is making it big monster smashing the buildings entertaining, and they've managed to make a story out of it that actually has some kind of emotional grip to it.
Well, that's the thing. The film doesn't take itself too seriously, and there was a couple of points where like we realised that. One of them during one action sequence where they managed to come down off a falling, where they managed to survive being on top of a building as it falls to the ground, and the character turns and says to the other, "Yeah, I really didn't think we were going to survive that."
Yeah. And
another one where a character is shot and brushes it off by saying, "Well, it didn't hit any vital organs, so I'm fine."
Yeah,
just carry on.
It knows it's been silly. But what it does do, it does really well, because it does have like that emotional appeal. And like Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, they kind of pull it off.
Yeah.
With their dialogue and their charisma on screen, I think. I do think really, like for me, you can put The Rock in anything. It will up it.
It was the Fast and the Furious of monster movies.
Let's not go that. It's not that bad. But overall, it was, and the special effects are really good. Dialogue's a bit clunky. It is very entertaining. I mean, the fact that they've managed to make a movie out of this that is just about monsters smashing up buildings is really an achievement for me. I think I'm giving them props for this.
Yeah.
And as a video game adaptation goes, I think it's a good one. And I really went in with this with the lowest of expectations. This was just killing a bit of time in the afternoon, and it was on. But I came out and I was like, that was really good. And I think that's really all you can ask for it. I mean, it is just like, at the bare bones, it's a popcorn movie. The dialogue does highlight the fact that they know it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they do get away with it. And I do think, as a spectacle as well, it is very well done.
Yeah, it's a fun movie that you don't have to think too much about. And like I say, a lot, that's kind of buildings exploding and action sequences and things like that. And sort of funny in the sense that it also realises that it's over the top. So it's funny in that way as well. So yeah, that was our review of Rampage. We'll be back in soon with another review. Make sure to like and subscribe.